good evening, your time.
Yes, sir.
Welcome, Rose Kisembo,
Thank
to
you
my
so much,
studio. My
Salongo.
name is Salongo Chugondo. I am here in Chicago, Illinois. Welcome to my show. Thank you for taking the time to come and talk to us about NIRA, the organization
Thank
that
you.
you had.
Thank you so much.
First of all,
Thank you
let
for
me
the
give you the
opportunity.
opportunity to introduce yourself so that those who will be viewing get to know you.
Okay. Thank you so much, Salongo. I got to know you through Charles Lugemwa. I would like to acknowledge him as well now in the show. He's done great for Uganda through his connections. He has a hospital. He's changing lives. So I am privileged to know you. My name is Rosemary Kisembo. I joined NIRA on 15th May 2021. So I've kind of been there for about 4 or 5 months. Yeah, 5 months coming. So my first degree was in commerce, my second degree was in IT. I've spent more of my working career working with software engineering. I have worked with a couple of programming languages, and I've been more of a back-end developer, but full stack with .NET. But now I am picking up a new language out of interest. My other hobbies, when I'm not at work, I love baking. I've been baking for most of my life. And I love church. I love singing. I go to church and I'm born again. Thank you.
Great. Thank you. Thank you very much. So you're a technologist. I do the IT stuff myself. I am not. I'm a generalist. Today I do. Get involved with data center engineering. So
Wow.
yeah, I'm into that stuff too. That's what I do for a living. Thank you very much for that
You're living
introduction.
my life.
Yeah. So you, as the executive director of the National Identification and Registration Authority, what does that mean? What is the authority? What is its mandate? What does it do?
The authority was created in 2015 by the Registration of Persons Act. The Registration of Persons Act is available online for download and use. But the key functions of the authority as defined in the law in Section 5 of the Act are: number one, to create, manage, maintain, and operate the National Identification Register. What is the content of that register? It's in Part B. To register citizens of Uganda. C, to register non-citizens of Uganda who are lawfully resident in Uganda. We're also responsible for registering births and deaths that happen in Uganda. We also assign unique national identification numbers to every person in the register. And we issue national identification cards and alien identification cards. Then we have other roles with regard to economic planning, which are harmonize register with other government registers, something someone who has asked for a passport might have experienced in the recent past. Two, we allow somebody who has probably participated in verifying their SIM card when they came to Uganda. They must have noticed that they may have asked them to get a national ID first. So in essence, we are also we're responsible now for being the single source of truth with regard to citizens of Uganda. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So when did you mentioned when you became because what I know is that you just come into this. There's been maybe this year, right? Is that what it is?
That's May 15th, 2021.
Do you know, in terms of metrics, how far the authority has gone into exercising this mandate? How many citizens have been registered thus far?
Yes, please. We have 29 million applications. I will not give, maybe not to the dot of the figure, but we've received 29 million applications. And of those, 25.4 million, 487, have been allocated NINs.
Okay. Okay. So that's
in terms of Ugandan's population on soil, that is 60.52% of the population.
Okay. All right. Okay.
Then we have 19 million cards have been printed. Now, not everybody is entitled to a card. Only those 16 years and above are entitled to a card.
Okay. All right. Now, we are here in the diaspora, and we are probably within those metrics, we're still lagging behind. It's a sizable population of Ugandans that live in the diaspora, and they are trying to understand what the mandate is. Why do they have to register? So any explanation that you can offer? Why should people take this registration seriously? What does it enable them to do, or what does not being registered prevent them from being able to do?
Well, first and foremost, we would like to recognize them as Ugandans, because with the UN charters, no one is allowed to be stateless. And to be recognized as a Ugandan, you are defined in the Constitution, Article 3, which says you must be born, you have been born to a parent from one of the indigenous communities of Uganda in Schedule 3 of the Constitution, which indigenous community existed in Uganda before 1926. So first and foremost, we want to recognize who are our citizens, regardless of where they are.
Okay.
Now, why? Really, why? It's for purposes of economic planning, and also for purposes of acknowledging the responsibilities that the state has to its citizens, among others, which is planning, economics, and all that. But also it gives them right now, for you to own property, for you to do anything, you need to have a national identification number, or you need to be in the national identification register. What's the big deal about that? Previously, there was people had a driving permit number, they had a TIN number, they had a couple of numbers, and as such, it was very difficult to singularly, one person, one document, one identity for Uganda did not exist. That has an impact even on some financial transactions in Uganda were very expensive, because people outside our country were not willing to deal with persons they cannot singularly identify. So it's to our benefit as a nation to be able to singularly identify a person, because even across the borders, people want to know that when they're talking to Rosemary, they're dealing with one Rosemary and not a Rosemary who keeps mutating as life determines. Thank you.
All right, great. No, thank you very much for that explanation. That because a lot of people are trying to understand what this is all about. So thank you very much for laying that out. Now, when I got to get the chance to have you here for a quick conversation, I also learned from you, and I have information prior to that, because I am here in the diaspora. I see the information being distributed, that there's a team from your authority here in the North America to conduct some registration exercise.
Yes, please.
What can you tell us about that?
I want to say thank you especially to several groups of people, one to our embassy, but especially to different groups of Ugandans in different states that have organized themselves to take advantage of this chance. Uganda is represented today from NIRA by Senior Registration Officer Eseza Florence Akol and Ian. They will move. We have allowed them to be flexible to as much as the resources on ground will allow to move within identified states and capture as many Ugandans as they can in North America. They will move at a certain point to Canada as well. Okay. Why? Because it's the right of every citizen of Uganda, regardless of where they are, to be registered. I wish also to recognize that Ugandans in diaspora are investing heavily in this country. And some of them are losing investment, even just from something as simple as identification. So we want to encourage them to take advantage of this. Now, the cost of money transactions across countries which do not have a proper identification system goes higher when it's not clear who people are dealing with, especially with the rate of globalization and also with the rate of electronic transactions that are now happening. So this will subsequently form even the basis for stuff like electronic signatures and other ways that the identification of a citizen will filter even into other sectors of our public and private life. Thank you.
All right. Any organizations of Ugandans that assisted or worked with you in setting this tour by your team?
Yes, UNA did. UNA actually had invited us for their conference, convention, just before, I think it was early September. However, we didn't manage to process our documents in time. Yeah, it took a bit of time. The embassies I think are still working at 20% on our side. Okay, it took a bit of time to process the documentation that our team needed to travel with. So I really wish to recognize them. I am at risk of not thanking everybody because some of them are dealing directly now with the team on ground and not through me. But I would like to also give a lot of thanks to the Ugandan Embassy in New York, the Ugandan Embassy in Canada, and say thank you so much. And people like you who have decided to take up this cause and get the true story of why registration. I would be unkind not to recognize such effort.
Yeah, and I'm very grateful to my friend Charles for having said that, let's talk to the source. Let's get the information from the true source other than what everybody's opinions are. So thank you very much for taking the time. I think what I will do is to have you back another time when we can also give the public advance notice, and you can have questions and you can explain in more details. I will also reach out to the other leaders and see if we could pull off something well distributed so that everybody can have the benefit of hearing from you, other than yeah, I think that would be helpful. So while the team is here too, if they need to use this platform to try and explain some, maybe I'm sure while in the field they've made some questions, they can actually better explain, answer quickly while on the ground. So they are free to let me know and we can make some arrangements.
I will certainly introduce you to them, and I really thank you for your graciousness, Salongo Chigondo. There are questions. There are Ugandans born in the US. How do we register such people? There are questions. Are people who die? What should we do? There are questions. I've changed my name for whatever reason I have. I've added a name, or I have divorced and I've removed a name. How do we handle that? So across the range of services that we offer, I will encourage the team to give clear guidance on what documentation do you need for each range of service. But I really wish to appreciate you, Salongo Chigundu, and thank you so much. Thank you. Webale ge. Nzangu. Neyanziza ssebo. Thank you so much.
Webale okutwala obudde n'ojja n'oyogerako nange magwana neeyanziza nnyo. Bandabire nnyo bonna, nkwagaliza weekend ennungi kaneme kutwalira budde bungi. Sande mmanyi kati kutandise okuziba.
N'Abannayuganda tubayita, tubakoowoola, tubaaniriza, beewandiise. Lino ggwanga lyaffe, temuliiwo kati naye muli sapootinga nnyo. Tetwagala muleme okuba mu register yaffe. Tweyanziza ssebo.
Wow. Kale nnyo weebale nnyo webale ddala. Bandabire nnyo bonna.
Kale ssebo, bye.
Bye.
Have a nice day.
Thank you.